Hi, I'm Jennifer Branch and welcome to Sketchy in My Garden. Today we're going to paint some Forsythia.
I'm going to paint a card for my grandmother.
And I'm going to paint another card. So this is a very quick, easy project, and it should take you 5-10 minutes to send a hug to someone that you love but you can't be with today. Let's paint. I'm painting on the Strathmore watercolor cards just like Christmas cards. This is a quick, easy, fun card. Nothing serious. I want you to have a lot of fun painting because then the recipient will have a lot of fun getting it. You can tell if something's been fun to do or not. So I'm just going to go crazy with Azo Yellow and I'm just playing with it. I am mixing it up on my palette in a great big puddle and just splattering it and having a lot of fun moving it around the paper. Now I'm mixing a lot of a bright spring green using phthalo green and Azo Yellow. This is going to be really bright and be the perfect thing to make the Forsythia flowers pop. Every time you sketch, just realize that moment of joy that you have at looking at the world around you, whether you're at your kitchen table or you're out in a beautiful park. It's a moment of joy, and the reason that you're sketching it is not to even have the card to send to somebody you love or the perfect Instagram photo or anything like that. The reason that you are sketching is so that you can remember that moment of joy, and no matter else what happens, that is yours. And you can remember the Forsythia flowers at their peak, even in the darkest points of the year. I'm using some quinacridone rust and a little bit of cobalt blue in there, just enough to kind of dull it. And I'm just letting my brush move around. I'm using the huge rigger, so I'm not trying for extreme detail. I'm just using a very large rigger and doing some interesting shapes. You know, getting a little contrast there because I have yellow flowers, and so they're going to need some darks. Some nice bright yellows, and I will keep adding and layering on those yellows and making it brighter. And now I've pulled out one of my fountain pens. As you know, I'm making the fountain pen, so I've got a lot and I have to try them, every single one. I'm using a Noodler's Black, but since I did not wait until it dried completely, what I'm really doing is I'm taking the quinacridone rust and I'm kind of moving that around. It has a little bit of the waterproof Noodler's Black in it, but it's kind of a mix of those. So that's great. I've got a little bit of contrast, and I'm still also using and pulling some of the other paint. See, I'm dipping it in there and moving that around. My kids are having fun blowing bubbles and sketching, and you just use what you have. Take the colors that you're already using, pull the paint in there. I always use a waterproof ink, and really Noodler's Black is the most waterproof I've found for using with a pen and watercolor. There's all kinds of effects that you can get, and every single one is interesting. I personally like the combination of the very strong darks and then pulling some paint around, just moving the paint around with a pen instead of a brush. My oldest son is sketching a card for his grandma. Notice my finger is balanced on that. That is the handiest. It's like a contractor's press, and it keeps things, I wouldn't call it waterproof, but splash proof. So I'm able to keep a selection of papers in there and then just clip it on there and it's ready to go. And then I put the finished paintings in there and they're not going to get messed up inside because there's some little sleeves. Something like that, a little press that you can put in your backpack or bag is great. The blueberries are blooming. Everything is just starting to bloom. That's the problem with spring, is you can't possibly paint it fast enough. There's just so much. The azaleas are starting. Most of my azaleas got smushed by a tree that fell down on them, but they are still struggling and going to bloom. So maybe I'll sketch those for y'all later. There's no way in 1 year you could sketch everything that happens in a garden, even in the winter. There's always something going on. I think sketching is those few moments of joy that all of us need to add to every single day. It doesn't matter what the result is. What mattered is that you really were in that moment and saw the joy of the day. And those few moments of joy are really important in the rest of our days. You saw it start to finish, so 10 minutes should do it. And I hope it inspires you to do one for someone you love.
Thank you so much for sketching with us today.
Have fun painting, and I'm sure your family will enjoy the cards you send them.
It's always nice to give someone a hug with a card that you've painted and taken just a little bit of time to do for them, even if you can't be there for them in person. It makes a big difference to have that little moment of joy, that reminder that spring is here and we will be all enjoying it together soon. And in the meantime, we'll sketch it and send it to people. Later this week, I'm going to be painting the Forsythia behind us again. And that one's not for a card. That's more of a finished sketch. So everyone stay safe. Enjoy spring as you can. And
Happy
happy
painting!
painting.